here reviewing Warhammer Boltgun with my controller on the PC, but I'd like to point out that this is another disappointing entry for Warhammer fans that might be looking at this game and considering getting it, even just on a lore standpoint. And admittedly, now I am not big on Warhammer lore, as I find it a bit mundane, tasteless, and lacking in subtlety. But disregarding even that, the only narrative present is just the mission you were initially given at the start of the game to retrieve the power from the planet. And so you aren't given much else, even in terms of environmental storytelling, other than dead bodies that might be scattered around the map, which doesn't really do a whole lot in terms of any deeper lore or to signify much else. But in terms of gameplay, the medium to attract all players, it is extremely lacking in nearly all regards, whether that be design, level layout, AI, or even just the weapons at play. I played this game on hard mode, but honestly, I'm fairly certain that only buffs up the enemy HP pool, as well as the damage, of course. But even then, I spent my time walking around instantly killing enemies for the most part. Obviously, at the start of the game, this could work, but they keep recycling the same fodder, cultists, and other enemy types, which is a problem on a few core levels. One is that, and this goes for all the AI, the intelligence in the artificial is just for show. Enemies won't shoot you until you shoot them first. They don't ever move, and the ones that can't even jump over walls. And that, if you're going to reuse the same concept enemy, at least spike them up with more chaos-themed clothing relating to the area corruption type. And that's really the problem. Warhammer, in my opinion, has always been about spectacle and having just fun with the animations and the design choices, especially in the demons. It's very appreciated there what they've done for them, but there is a flaw, and I'll come back to it shortly. But for now, I like to circle back to the gameplay, as it can't even comply to what is in reality a very low bar. That much I'm forced into talking about gameplay again, which is a total snoozer. Sometimes I just stood there and slowly picked off enemies because your player is practically an unkillable god. When I wasn't faffing about with the AI, I was making genuine attempts to try, and honest to God, have fun. I'd tried playing it as a power fantasy, but it lacks both the diverse weapon layout and enemy variety needed. I tried going headstrong into enemies, proving only slightly more fun, but dying is still a challenge, and so on. Ultimately, it really comes down to the AI, because no matter how many enemies or how much you inflate the enemy's health, it wouldn't be fun anyway. Even when I was fighting in more well-designed levels comparatively with this game, it did prove only bearable. Even worse, the game hands you yet another overpowered weapon to trivialize the big boss moments. By the time I got to the Great Unclean One, he lasted not even 5 seconds, with a combination of grenades and the just insanely broken weapons. But on the topic of level design, it is frankly terrible, with almost infinite resources being given to players at all times, whether that's ammo, health, or shields, especially with how much cover they give, which works even worse than the AI can't comprehend you're behind a wall or on top of a hill. They all become easy pickings. It's literally the equivalent of shooting fish in a barrel. I'll finalize the reasons to avoid this game with this. Not only is it a total failure of a shooter, but design choices don't even lend themselves to you by making you look forward and appreciating the animations on the enemies. I feel this is mainly in part with the fact that for some weird reason it tried a 2D effect for the enemies, which initially made me stop and think, that looks kind of ugly and lazy, but maybe it'll grow on me. It didn't. In fact, it hinders it on a few parts. One being that you can't even admire a fully rendered model of the unit, as the facing position is always based on the players, and that compared with its competition like Doom that have dynamic body parts, i.e. the part you shoot flies off the body. With the comparison to Doom, it's almost important to bring up how a game like this is just really ripping off Quake as well. It came out how many years ago now, and just completely blows it out of the water though. I mean, what does this game do better than Quake? It would be tough to pick out, and maybe even nothing, honestly. I mean, even with just the ammo and the game face combat, you can't even ration ammo because you're giving so much, and it's just so poor in terms of just where everything is in exploration. But I hate to only be negative, so I do feel the need to point out what this game does get right, which is the fact that There's a lot of attention to smaller details. Entrails that fly out all manner of monsters, with the chaos demons themselves evaporating back into the realm with a really nice effect. Frog demons have 3D tons that shoot out, and again the animations on things like the Nurglings and player idle animations of him opening a Bible were cool. Player movement is fluid, quick, and responsive, and when you jump from a high place, the heavy armor causes a slam effect which actually damages nearby enemies. And there's other smaller details on it too, like for example, environmental effects. Again, the corruption is visible and very interestingly designed wherever you go. So if you're in a siege area, you see a lot of eyeballs on walls, and the Nurglings obviously have a lot of chaos rot. But I would have liked to see more types of chaos here. I would have loved to have seen some Slanesh or even Khorne. But the game doesn't really lend itself to that to begin with, just because how bad the AI actually is. And I know you're watching a PowerPoint slideshow right now. Jeez, I don't know what's happened, but I mean, I do want to like this game, and I do believe that they can do better on the next entry. I don't think this is like a soulless cash grab, at least in terms of the people who made this. I feel like they at least had genuine passion, but it's a rush project with a lot of loose ends and a lot of mechanics that don't really tie into each other and don't feel good in the end of the day. So really, that's it. I mean, you shouldn't get this game. I mean, maybe the next one will be good, but if you're looking at this, don't get it.